Afgelopen donderdag in de vergaderzaal van Hotel Marriott vond het verspreidingsevenement plaats voor het Suriname Country Partnership Framework. Het evenementthema was ondersteuning van de ambitie van Suriname voor een rechtvaardige samenleving waarin haar waarden worden vervuld. Diletta Doretti, plaatselijke vertegenwoordiger van de Wereldbank, gaf aan wat het precies inhoudt.
It's my pleasure to be here today for the launch of the World Bank's group new country strategy, which is called the Country Partnership Framework for the next 5 years. And reflecting on it this morning, I was thinking it couldn't be a better title because this very much is a partnership between the World Bank group and the government of Suriname. And it couldn't come at a better time as Suriname is really at a key juncture of its development with the FID just being signed, with the IMF review just having completed successfully, and I would like really to acknowledge and thank the government for the extraordinary effort that we've done under the IMF program, so well done to everyone. I have to say that from a World Bank, we are very pleased to be able to accompany the government of Suriname's beautiful nature in your development. Our strategy, which my colleague Hubert will present to you, is very much aligned with the government of Suriname's vision for a just society where every citizen can thrive and have opportunity to thrive. And is also very much aligned with the government multi-annual development plan, which highlights which are the key development challenges and how to support. This strategy, and just very briefly, has 2 high-level objectives, which are focusing on the work we already been doing under the existing project, competitiveness and the Saramacca Canal, but also expands a bit more. And the underpinning are really providing more jobs and skills, especially as the country prepares for oil and gas future, and it's very important to invest in a new generation and also in the jobs of the future, including on the private sector side. And the second one is on building climate resilience. We're already doing some of it through the Saramacca project, which I'm very glad to see PS and Minister here, but there's much more that could be done, especially as Suriname is one of the few countries that really is endowed with 93% of forests. So protecting the forest, protecting the population communities that live in the forest is something that we feel very strongly, and we'll be delighted to support the country as we go forward. So this partnership comes really at a pivotal moment. It offers, from a World Bank Group standpoint, the opportunity to support you as you embark in your future, but also to lay the foundation for a prosperous, sustainable development. I would also like to say that this partnership also comes at a very important juncture and is coupled with Suriname recent access to our International Development Association, or IDA, which is the concessional arm, which means that now Suriname will have access to concessional funding, which is very much needed at this time because we are very mindful also of the debt ceiling the country has. So we want to support with more really cheap funding and cheap technical assistance that we can provide. And also this allowed for greater flexibility in the way they are.
Daarna zei Stanley Raghubarsi, minister van Financiën en Planning, wat dit zou betekenen voor Suriname.
In the 60s, we tried to engage with the World Bank. We were talking about doing works with the World Bank. We were talking about building the hydroelectric dam and the construction of that, and to have it financed by the World Bank. That didn't work out. We had to wait for Diletta and her team. So we are here today. We have the excellent team. We have the team of Diletta and the World Bank on the ground in Suriname, and it had its challenges, but we are flying. We have a program. We have a strategy. We have projects that are doing well. We had difficulties in getting them started up, getting to know each other, getting to get a feel of who we are, the way we work with each other, who is Suriname. I hear that from other IFIs too. You have to know the country. It looks very easy from the beginning. we are a happy country with multi-ethnicity, with good food, yes, with friendly people. When you start working, you see the difficulties. It's sometimes a different story. You have to get to know that before we can succeed and make progress. But we are there. We are making progress. And in the meanwhile, I think we became member of all the institutions of the World Bank, and less than a month ago, we became a member of IDA in Washington. That was a wonderful experience to have been there. The central theme of the World Bank, I think it's worth noticing, is eradicating poverty. We had a previous president, we are still proud of, Ronald Venetian. He said, you know, our objectives should go one step beyond. We shouldn't only focus on eradicating poverty. We must create wealth and welfare for people. We must make the next step too. You know, so I'm convinced that the World Bank's objective in eradicating poverty is enclosing also that second part of this objective, making sure that people are happy, that they are happy with their lives, that children can laugh and can have a childlike future in our world. I must say that in what we have prepared here, the country partnership framework, there are two highlights, two highlight outcomes: increasing employment by strengthening education outcome and skills development, improving business environment for private sector development, and two is to reduce citizens' vulnerability and protection of the forest, strengthen resilience to climate and disaster risks, and preserve the forest and improve the livelihoods of forest-dependent communities. And I think Dileta said it exactly what it is about. We have oil and gas, and it will give us a lot of money. But if we do not transform that money in wise, sustainable development instruments, that money will be lost. It can be lost in one operation. If we don't transform that into strong, solid, long-term products, instruments for further development, we will lose that opportunity. And I think in this strategy, it's a very nice thing, because on the one hand, it is as if it is not taking into consideration oil and gas. And I think that's a blessing. That's a blessing, because we will need, it is of strategic importance that the economy, apart from oil and gas, keeps growing. That we sustain that we do not lose that we do not fall into the trap of losing the rest of the economy because we have the easy money of oil and gas. Because if we do that, we will definitely fail. We have all the examples all over the globe of how it went wrong, because countries were dancing in the streets because there was gold, there was bauxite, there was oil and gas. And so, I think it is of strategic importance that this strategy is not talking about oil and gas. Because the oil and gas will be so huge, so abundant, it will take care of itself. We must make sure to do two things. One is to take care of all that is not oil and gas, because that will remain important. Infrastructure, food, education, people, the social structure of the country, making sure that all that money that comes in is not translated immediately into inflation. Things that we can learn from our neighbors. We can see the risks in the streets, in their day-to-day lives. What a waste if you have an inflow of a lot of US dollars, and the only things it does is translate those into inflation, and making life more difficult for the poor people. That is not something we want. And I must say, when I'm speaking to you like this, it's because I'm delighted for this strategy. This is one part of it. And the other part of it is to make sure that the opportunities with the FID, with oil and gas, that they are channeled through the right, through the right ways, into the right direction. That we do not think that because this is a huge investment and multinationals are behind this, that we can sit back and relax because problems will solve themselves. No, we will have different kind of problems. We will transform from a country that has to be managed, like we are doing, in a situation of scarcity of funds, to a situation where we will have an abundance of foreign exchange. And it will give us the illusion that we can refrain from being disciplined, from being disciplined in the budget, in our work, in our objectives, in keeping our children in school, and making sure that we put targets in our lives. Oil and gas and money will not solve the deep sense of life